name is Jamarah Amani, and I am a midwife, community organizer, and the director of Southern Birth Justice Network. And I'm so blessed to be here with you all this evening to see our history collectively displayed and what our various peoples have been through, survived, overcome, and still struggling, right? I'm very happy to share with you all this evening the Black Midwives Timeline. I don't know if you had a chance to visit it. It's toward the back of the room. What we have there is an apron, which is a traditional Black midwives apron that was used in care settings, mostly home births. And what's displayed on there is the ancestor midwives. And right next to that, there are some biographies of those midwives. And right next to that, to the right of that, is our living legacy. So we have 4 elder midwives featured there. And there's also an invitation there to the left that says, if you know any ancestor or elder midwives, you can write their names down. Please share their names with us. So if you have a grandmother or an auntie or a cousin or somebody you heard of way back in the day in your family that was a midwife, please share that with us. And the reason that we want to ground into this talking about midwifery and talking about birth, anybody here that wasn't born? Raise your hand if you weren't born. Right. So it affects all of us. And some people might be like, well, I've never given birth, so that doesn't affect me. But we were all born, right, one way or another. And some of those are stories of trauma. Some of those are stories of survival. Some of those are stories of pure joy and celebration. And we all have a story, and those stories really, really matter. And how we come into the world and how those decisions get made have everything to do with reproductive justice. Whether you are choosing to have a child, to not have a child, if you're seeking wellness care, if you're seeking care for a condition that you have, whatever it is, it's related to this concept of we need to own our bodies. We do own our bodies, and sometimes we have to fight just to be in ownership of ourselves. And so that's why we're here tonight to share information about that. And when you look at the roots of midwifery, the history, right, all of this is grounded in that. Because when our ancestors came here, however they came here, midwives came. Like, we all were in care of midwives. Indigenous people had their midwives. African people had their midwives. Everyone has their midwives. And that is because midwives kept the wellness of the community. Midwives honored the safety of the community and kept the culture of the community. And many traditions around health, wellness, herbalism, spirituality were transmitted and taught through midwifery. And so that's a really important starting point and grounding place. And at Southern Birth Justice Network, we teach about the birth justice framework. And we always start with the story of the midwife, because it's really important that we honor that history, that tradition, and uplift those stories. Midwives were marginalized, meaning pushed out of the healthcare system around the same time that birth moved into the hospitals and reproductive care moved into medical institutions. And so you can see there a definite alignment of the trajectory of pushing midwives out and institutionalizing reproductive oppression. And so bringing midwifery care back into our communities is bringing wellness and wholeness back into our communities. Going back and reclaiming our right, to have that ownership and care over our bodies, and knowing that we don't have to surrender our bodies to a system that was meant to destroy us, right? We have the right to claim that and own our health care and our wellness traditions. So that's what I want to share with you all, and we're going to get more into reproductive justice and the whole broad picture.
Reproductive justice, right? Who here has heard that term? Right? Who here is familiar with that term?
Like the word justice, I think about like laws and legal context when I hear that word. And obviously now we talk about social justice. Anyway, I guess my question maybe is, to what what extent is this like just about laws, or is it about you know, I don't know if that makes sense, right?
So reproductive justice, right, is being able to have, not have children, parent, not parent, right? Be able to birth, right? Birth justice, be able to birth these children in a way that feels right for us, right? And be able to raise our families, right, in safe, thriving, and healthy communities, right? At the heart, so some of us were this weekend at the only National Reproductive Justice Conference called Let's Talk About Sex, put on by Sister Song, who is the founding collective of reproductive justice, and Chaz will get into it a little bit more. And we said that at the heart of reproductive justice are two key things, right? Centering the margins, so centering women of color, centering low-income folks, centering immigrants, centering people in the margins. And something that Loretta Ross said that was really beautiful was, at the heart of reproductive justice is dialogue, right? We're not here to learn from an academic or read textbooks. We are here to ground ourselves in our lived experiences. Our lived experiences are key and what will guide this work. So when we think about reproductive justice, it's about bringing the margins in, right, which are typically women of color, brown and black women, low-income women, and we're talking about dialogue. It's about learning from each other, our experiences, challenging each other, and creating the kind of world where we can have healthy and thriving families.
We can't reaffirm and uplift enough that reproductive justice was coined as a term by 12 Black women in 1994. So we're celebrating 25th birthday this year. And I think it's also really important to know, like, people talk about oppression as if it was this thing thousands and thousands of years ago that we recovered from, but to know that it was 25 years ago and we're able to sit in spaces with the founders of this term that undergird so much of our work just shows how far we have not come, right? That it was just 25 years ago in my lifetime that we were given and blessed with this framework. And I think it's important to know it's just a term that was coined, right? Our people have known oppression, we've known how to survive it before we even had the words and the language to do it. And then we come along and as we evolve, we're then able to give it that language. So that's where reproductive and justice as two terms came together. So these 12 women were gathered at this conference, these 12 Black women. They were the only 12 Black women at a reproductive rights conference. And they were like, so we got to do something about this because they're only talking about reproductive rights, abortion access, birth control. And we know that our ability to have children, to not have children, to decide to parent them in a healthy and safe environment goes far beyond birth control and abortion. What we know is that when folks like me have to consider whether or not they're having children, what are some of the things that we have to think about? Beyond the doctor, beyond what hospital will deliver in, what are we thinking about?
We want to be able to parent or work, right? When we talk about the safety of our Black men, that's something that my boys are grown. I have grown grandsons, as my friend calls it, and just trying to resolve the fact that I want them to come home safely at the hands of the police. There's so many factors that are affecting our children and our community as it relates to reproductive rights and justice. Those are just the few that I think of.
We all exist simultaneously with many different identities, right? See me standing up here, I don't just get to exist as Black today or in this hour. I'm Black and woman and first generation born here, I have a formal education, queer, all of these different things are acting upon me simultaneously. And what that means is it impacts how I show up, how y'all treat me when I show up, and whether or not I make it out of that space alive. That's all issues of reproductive justice and intersectionality.
And we thought it was important also to ground ourselves in intersectionality because who here has heard the term intersectionality? Right? We're all throwing it around, a lot of folks have been throwing it around, and typically sometimes when they say it, it means all the things.
right? Let's talk about all the things where we're all intersecting, right? And it's important for us to uplift that is rooted in Black feminist theory. It is important for us to uplift that it is truly a legal framework that was produced by a lawyer named Kimberly Crenshaw. Like the intention of that term was to uplift the unique level of suffering that came from being a woman and being a Black person, right? So it's important to ground ourselves because when we're also uplifting Black and brown women, right, and we trust Black women, we take lead from Black women, we need to give credit where credit is due, and we can't talk about intersectionality without branding ourselves as Black business leaders. Okay? We also wanted to make sure that we uplifted the difference, right, between reproductive rights and health and reproductive justice, right? Reproductive rights and health have to do with abortion access, they have to do with contraceptives, they have to do with legality. Right? We're talking about reproductive justice, we're talking about barriers, we're talking about access. So abortion is legal. What if it's not covered by your insurance? What if you have to travel 2 states out of the way? What if you are undocumented and there are ICE checkpoints everywhere? What if you are incarcerated by the state and the state doesn't offer you abortion care where you are? Right? So these are all issues of reproductive justice.
And that's what brings us all here, right? So we developed this space, the South Florida Reproductive Justice Coalition, because all of us at some level are doing reproductive health, rights, and or justice work. And clearly, by the attendance in this room, there's a gap of people sitting together and talking about these issues, about how all of these things for generations are impacting our decisions to have or not have kids. And we want to be able to build with you all and build a politic around all of that. A politic in theory, but then also a political agenda that looks like advocating for laws and policies and us being on the same page with the same framework from South Florida, right? And as the South goes, so goes the rest of the state, and we'll get it together from there. So that's why we wanted to gather you all together with this amazing group of coalition partners.